Nice.
Hey everybody.
We're back on a Thursday evening. We're back in home, and we're very comfortable here. We've got a couple things before our show starts tonight. One of which, Mama D just amazed me earlier when we've been talking now for a few hours here, and
Yep.
she found a thing on TikTok, and she's going to tell you about it, which is really pretty cool.
It's
And I
cute.
want you all to try it.
Okay, so first thing, if y'all figure out my voice, I have a cold. Really not a nice one. It's like all up in here. So I talk a little funny, so my gorgeous voice ain't there completely. But if you add the year that you're going to be or are in 2022, like if your birthday's already passed, the age you are now, or if your birthday's to come, age you will be in 2022, and your year of birth, add those two numbers together, and they will add up to 2022. So I
And
give
this
you
is
that.
the only year that this
Figure
happened.
out why. I don't know. Hey Sharon, I
I know.
don't know
And I'm
why.
going,
And it
no.
was a TikTok thing. So Gina tried it, and our adorable guest Nancy, who is the same age and the same year as me. So she tried it out, and she's like, okay, yeah, it is. But now we're gonna figure out why it is. There's just something magical about it. What is it about that makes it special?
Yeah,
So
why
that's
can't
your
why
homework for today.
is it why
And
why is this
don't I
24?
look absolutely daunting with my hair all freaky, curly?
And the other thing that's really pretty amazing is this. Okay, we are talking about divine trust
Mm-hmm.
tonight, okay? Now, I'm sitting here trying to move my chair. I was just telling Mama to do this. Okay, I'm trying to move my chair and my table. I have a little table right here, and it was the wrong way. And I'm like, why is my table the wrong way? So I went to flip it the right way so I could slide my chair over because I'm a little fidget. And I look down, and here's this giant feather. This
Gorgeous freaking
it
feather.
is a beautiful pure white feather that was just on my floor here. I do not have down jackets, but especially nothing that has this size feather in it, and no feather. Those pillows over there, they're not down. But nothing still that would be a feather this size. So to me, I think our show tonight is
Is going
already
to rock.
divinely infused. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I am anxious now to get her on here, and so I'm going to play her bio video, and then when that is over, she will be with us. This week in the Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, we welcome Dr. Nancy Wiley. At the age of 12, Nancy became fascinated by how certain people can seemingly manifest things into their lives when she manifested a beautiful thoroughbred jumper for herself. After reading The Power of Your Subconscious Mind just a few short years later, she began to understand how she had created this. Simultaneously, she had also began a lifelong practice of meditation that resulted in the attainment of unity consciousness. With her continuing experience and ever-growing confidence in navigating through her inner realm, she was able to reach a state whereby she no longer suffers, no matter what life presents. Her trust in Source has become unshakable. From direct experience, she is now absolutely certain that there is a divine presence that wants everyone to know it and trust it. For the past 8 years, she has been enrolled in the inner circle of a comprehensive program called Your Year of Miracles, where she became clear that her next divine assignment was to assist others in opening to the state of trust in the divine, as she has done. In her new book, Divine Trust, A Practical Guide to End Suffering and Find Your Way Home, she lays out a blueprint that anyone can easily follow to achieve this incredible state of divine bliss and trust for themselves and thereby achieve freedom from suffering. Dr. Nancy Wiley has spent 27 years building a highly successful orthodontics practice in Florida, and it was the school tragedy in Parkland that spurred her to feel the time was right to create and bring through divine trust. With the loss of one of her own patients and the sorrow of so many around her, she felt introducing divine trust would be a path to healing for many. Dr. Nancy Wiley now dedicates herself to igniting a massive shift in human consciousness using divine trust is the cornerstone, and we welcome you to the Fox Den. Hi, Nancy. Welcome to the Fox Den.
Hi, I love that intro. That was so fantastic. I was like, wow, you guys are just over the top.
That's all Gina. It's not like nothing to do with it. I'm just here. I'm technical support.
It works. So
here's just a quick mention. If you see me, Nancy, if you see me looking down or looking away, it's because I do the stuff, the technical side. I like and comment on everybody's posts. So
she's putting in.
It's not that I'm ignoring you.
I call it. And Sharon says it works. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But how divinely inspired are we? Okay.
Yeah.
It just I can't even get over that. I honestly can't. And we're always saying too to watch for the signs.
Yes.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be big signs, it's little signs.
Throw it in the trash and like be like, whatever. It's a piece of my cleaning lady didn't do her job. And you guys are like, no, this is a sign from spirit, from God, from source. I love that.
Yep. Wow. Totally. So that's all right, here's the book. Here is the book. Okay, now people, this book is not big. However, what she does have for a lot of this content, right at the beginning, there's a QR code too. Mm-hmm. When you hit the QR code, or you go to the link that she has in there. If you can't scan the QR code, but there's a lot there. So she has meditations there and explanations there. So there's a lot more content verbally. So you don't have to just read. So this is like there's a lot though in here. You didn't like pack it with just a bunch of fluff.
No, there's some meditations in there you can do over and over and over again. And the more you do it, the deeper you go, the more you explore, the more that opens up for you. So, I mean, that first meditation in chapter 3, I've done for years. I actually did it right before I got on the call. Because it's like just clearing your mind, clearing your energy field, your auric field, everything. And it brings you right into the purity of the present moment. So I don't know how deep you guys go and how much you meditate, but I'm like the meditation girl. And it doesn't have to be 2 hours. I just went to a spiritual retreat and the guy is like, you have to sit up. You have to we're doing 6 hours of meditation a day. If you don't see complete black, you're not in the right spot. And
I'd be like out like a light. 6 hours, I'm out like a light. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd be seeing black because I would be sleeping too.
I lay down. I see light. I see light shows. I see figures. I see, oh my God, probably interdimensional beings. I see all kinds of weird stuff. And
right, but now, just to kind of back that whole thing up, your mom was in the transcendental meditation, right? So TM. So you've known this like your whole life. So it's not like something that was.
It's way more weird than this. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, you didn't know this. It wasn't. I mean, you had that I'm an orthodontist, but I actually, when I was 4, I saw a horse. Someone rode their horse through our backyard and I fell in love with horses, and that's what I wanted to do. My mom said, oh, you're too smart to do that. You can't be like a horse trainer. You have to use your brain and become a doctor so you can afford to have horses because they're expensive. So we didn't have the money. And that's why when I would dream about getting a horse all the time, and this lady, my mom's coworker's mom, had a lot of horses and she had breast cancer and she wasn't going to ride anymore. So she gave me her horse. Wow. And he was beautiful. But not only that, so I would be studying my ass off. And my mom would be like, what's wrong with her? Like my sister would be going out partying on Friday and Saturday night. She's 2.5 years older than me. And here I'd be with my books studying all night, all Friday, all Saturday, all Sunday. So she's like, oh my God, you're too intense. I'm going to take you to learn transcendental meditation so you can relax. Now, this is when I'm 16. So I was still, when you're studying like that, you are building, like what our whole society trains us is to build our analytical left brain. and get away from that intuition. What your show's about is the intuition. That's where, I'll bring it all around in just a second. So here I am studying. She takes me to that. And then she gives me, when I'm 17, she gives me this book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. And it talks about how two siblings can be drastically different just based on how they think and how they move through life. And I'm like, well, that must be how I got my horse. And then when I'm 20, I get this other fantastic book called Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, by one of her friends. Okay, so she's already open-minded. And then I take her to the next level. Like we start getting out there. So she takes me to learn, certain things to get me out of this stuck left brain. But that science, a scientist is just taught to be there. If you can't prove it and reproduce it with your human senses, it's not real, right?
Right.
So here I am learning all this other stuff. And I'm like, wow, I had a foot in both worlds. And I take this sociology of religion when I'm in undergraduate school, and it proves to you there's no God. And I'm like, man, it's really it pulled the rug out from underneath me. And then here I'm going fast forward. This is so fast forward. I'm sitting in an amphitheater at Columbia University. So I have 6 advanced degrees, 3 from Columbia University. And I'm sitting there. The dental students go together with the medical students for the first 3 years. And I'm sitting in this amphitheater. I must have come in late, and I'm all the way at the top. There's 500 people in the amphitheater. And the professor is way down, and he is explaining how the human body responds to virus and bacteria. And all of a sudden, I literally got smacked. And I'm like, I had this flash of light where I'm like, holy crap, there is a God. There is no way that's by mistake or by evolutionary process. There is a source behind it all, organizing it. And I know it 100%. It just hit me. So from that moment on, I was on this major seeker path. And my mom had a healing of breast cancer. She had a 8-centimeter tumor in her left breast. And I came home from school because I was going to school in Manhattan. Am I talking too much? You too?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I'm just.
So this is crazy.
No, I read this.
But I don't know if you're viewers, so I'm just going to say it.
Yeah,
Go for it. This is your show.
This is an insane story.
So she has me, I come home because she's going to have a mastectomy on Monday. I come home on a Friday, and she goes, let's go to this Catholic mass. It's a sunset mass in a little chapel in the mountain, in kind of mountainside, hillside mountains of Maryland. And it's sunset. So it's a very small chapel, but it's all windows. And the priest is sitting in the front. So he's just illuminated. You just see a shadow, but he's illuminated by this glorious fire, red and orange sunset. And in the end, he goes, I'm having a laying of the hands for anyone who wants to participate. So my mom goes, come up with me. I want to do it. So we walked up there. Now, there's not that many people, but I think there were 3 in front of her. And when it got to her turn, he asked her, what's your malady? And she told him, and then he put his hands on her face, and I was standing right beside her. So I was there the whole time. It felt like it was about 10 minutes, 12 minutes. And when he was done, he said, you are healed. Okay, this is Friday. Monday was the surgery. So we go in to have the surgery. I'm sitting there with my dad, and the surgeon comes out and he goes, I don't know how to tell you this, but we took the tissue histologically. We cannot find any trace of the tumor at all, but we did remove the breast. And we did find positive lymph nodes. So we know it wasn't an apparition.
Yeah, but it wasn't there. But it's just on. Yeah, how did they miss a grapefruit-sized thing for so long, too, though?
It was an interductal. She had just had a mammogram, and it was completely missed on the mammogram. The way it was found was she was going in for her physician assistant was approving her. She was going to have arthroscopy on her knee. Mm-hmm. And she had to be examined. And that's when they saw the pucker, and they were like, oh, my goodness.
Right.
So it was biopsy.
My brother had a brain tumor. And they found that because he was spraying paint and it went into his eyes. So he went to the ER to flush his eyes and all that kind of stuff. And they decided to check up his nose. And then they saw the tumor, you know, and that's how they found it. And I was like, wow. So, yeah, Bob's like, question mark. I just sent Bob a message because Sharon said my thing was freezing. So I asked Bob if he was streaming.
It is every so often, but I thought it was me.
Yeah,
no Canadian internet.
Bob streams like games.
Bob, get off the damn internet. Don't make me come down there and smack your calves. Grab my calves.
Yeah, yes. So that's what I was doing. I was like, I'm freezing, so please don't be streaming. I apologize. But another thing I wanted to ask, I was like, what you were talking about at the beginning there when you were saying you're seeing all these colors and all these different realms, and you know, whether you're going in and out of different dimensions and stuff like that. A lot of people don't see those things unless they have like an NDE, you know. So if they're near death, then they see it, then they believe it, then they come back and try to tell you. But you know, it's like you don't have to have a near death experience to experience those things. You can reach that in meditations. And if you can't sit and meditate for any length of time, it's practice. They're like anything.
Can I tell you what I've noticed what did not work for me and what worked for me, what actually moved things is what moved my spiritual needle, because I did transcendental meditation all those years with not much movement whatsoever. Like maybe I was becoming a little more psychic or clairvoyant, you know, but not much. And then I tried to, you know, the scientist in me, I tried to be brainiac about it. And I knew holosync, which is brainwave entrainment. I did that for 8 years. Okay, so nothing I did, I didn't do like halfway or, you know, just a little bit. I really was all in. No, it didn't move me. It wasn't until I found a specific guided meditation. I really, really am a believer in that, because
me too.
When you're in a guided meditation, it's giving your mind something to latch onto so it's not going to wander. So you're able to stay in the present moment. You too know that being in the present moment is what it's all about. That is where it's at. But if you're doing mantra meditation and saying the same thing over and over again, you know, you get very little movement. And it wasn't until in 2008 I found my teacher. Her name is Jetta Molly. Oh my God, she did a pathway to enlightenment through learning strategy. It was fantastic. And then she did a follow-on, and then I started studying with her directly. But she's so popular, you could only do it through groups. So like I'd be in a group of 6 or 8, and I did that for years. And then I listened over and over and over again and listened to, you know, her instructions. Because, you know, here's what it is. Like you hear something and you're like, I know that's important. And you try to grab it.
Store it in a little filing cabinet in your brain.
Yeah. And it's like, damn, I know that was important, but it just flew away. And it just, when you do that, you are telling source that you don't have and that you missed it. And you're trying too hard. You've got to just relax. Laugh at it. Say, okay, I'll see you another time. Right back. Whatever it was you're supposed to hear will come right back. Yeah. So trying is like telling the source you are not it. But when you can just relax and have fun. I was listening to your, I listened the whole way through with Anna Maria Vasquez. She was so
I love her.
Yeah.
I loved her. You were laughing through the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, that lady's onto it because she's laughing. She's not taking things seriously. The more you play with spirit has like this major sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
And I will tell you like a funny story if you want to hear. It just happened to me.
Yeah.
So my book was written for the Parkland shooting victims because I was a mile and a half from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas working on that afternoon when the shooting happened. And a mom was standing next to me and screamed because she got an alert on her phone that there was an active shooter. Well, we had no clue, but 5 o'clock the next morning, I found out I lost a patient and one of my staff lost her sister. But I mean, no one came into the office for 6 weeks. I had an adult patient at the time. He was a psychologist. He goes, watch, they're going to start committing suicide. And I'm like, who? What? What do you mean? He goes, the students who survived will have either survivor's guilt or they're going to have severe anxiety and feel like they'll never be safe again. They're going to start committing suicide. So it did start happening. 2 people I know committed suicide. I know there were 4 other attempts. And so they called this town hall, which is why I wrote my book, because it's a little bit more synchronistic, but the book was written for them. And I always saw, I'm going to have a class, I'm going to teach them specifically those kids. So I got Parkland to donate a room, the city of Parkland. I had this big, beautiful room. It could have like 25 people. And I advertised, I put it out. The first class, it was going to be 8 weeks. The first class, one parent of one of my patients showed up late, but she showed up, and then no one showed up again ever.
Oh my gosh.
So it kind of sounds funny, right? But I want to tell you. So I was like, what am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? Or my marketing people, blah, blah, blah. So on the second day when no one else showed up, I'm like, oh, and I'm like, dang. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to give up? Is this a sign I'm supposed to give up? Maybe I'm supposed to go back to orthodontics. So third day, I come back. No one shows up. No one shows up. And I'm like, shit. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Sometimes.
Oh, you're fine.
Love it.
All right. So
it's just more money in my swear jar. It's good.
She's got a swear jar. I'm building her castles.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. So anyways, I decide no one's there. I'm like, well, I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm just going to meditate. So I close my eyes and I start meditating. What do I hear? I hear them laughing. You got to lighten up. It's just so much fun. So then I started meditating. I meditated that whole hour. Then I come back the 4th day and I go deep. No one shows up again, right? It's just me. And I'm into this meditation and I hear, you are holding space for the entire city, and bravo for you for not giving up, for showing up again, and laughing with us and playing with us. And then it went so deep. I went so deep. I could feel and sense the shift of the universe. You can feel it, the shifting. When you get to this level of power, it's like, wow. And to own your power and realize how magnificent and God, we're source. We are God working through us. But how many people own it and step into it? Not many.
Yeah, I mean, because I have the paranormal background, right? So we talk to spirits. We have them recorded. We have this. We have that. And then we're always teaching and preaching and whatnot about like what is it that makes us? We're energy. Why are these spirits around? Because energy cannot be destroyed. It morphs, right? So we are still on the planet, morphed into something else, and all this energy has to go somewhere, right? And we can tap into that, and we do, and then the level that you're tapping in is way up here, and like the highest of the yogis tapping into, and that's amazing. That's quite a feat, but it is feasible for anyone and everyone to do. So then now you wrote this, and now you are basically trying to help people to get to that state.
Yes. Yep. So, and I've heard you on your show, like you've had all these psychics on and they say, what's the vision? Well, I get shown the vision of where we're heading. It's so amazing and miraculous. It's where each individual is like this, but is a jewel of light, is a magnificent God particle. Okay, I'm going to say we are each a full-blown God. So, and part of the source, and we're here to wake up to it. So it all goes back to God was everywhere before the Big Bang. It was everywhere. Yeah. But it had no body, it had no physicality, and it longed to know itself. It longed to experience its magnificence, its omnipotence, its omni-everything, right? But it couldn't because it had no material. So it caused that Big Bang, which caused some some particles to contract enough to be dense enough to be physical matter, which is what we are. Now, if we each knew we were God right away from the get-go, it would be no fun, right? But it's
I've always
given
known
this
that as a goddess.
amnesia. Yes, so you got to wake up to it. You got to have like, oh my God, I can really do. I am so powerful. I am so good. And I call it a snap back to an aha moment.
Yeah, it's a movement, not even a moment. It's a movement.
It is a movement.
Yeah.
So
the snap back. I mean, at first, when I first read it, the first time you wrote it, I was like, snap back. And it didn't kind of register. And then again and again and again, and you refer to it, and it's like, I like how you write like that, you know, because then it really makes it make sense. It puts it, you know, in the head. And I love that. And it's true, though, because we're going back to where we're supposed to be. And we have been taught since we've been born not to be what we are designed to be. That's
yes.
You know,
it's like, I mean, how many kids, you know, talk to their imaginary friends, and you get when parents are raising their children when they're young, it's like, oh, it's okay, it's just your imaginary friend. And then they get to an age where parents go, okay, it's time for you to grow up. You know, you don't have an imaginary friend, put them away or whatever. It's like, no, allow them to continue to have them. And that's what I like about parents nowadays. I used to work in a convenience store, and I had a mom who came in, and her child was autistic, and I didn't know it at the time. She would just walk around and she'd have conversations and And she said to me, she says, I'm sorry, my daughter's rather loud, but she, you know, she's on the autistic spectrum, and she sort of talks to her imaginary friends. I'm trying to get her to stop. I said, why? I said, why are you trying to get her to stop? You don't, it might be an imaginary friend to you, but to her, it's an actual being. Whether it's an angel, whether it's a guide, there's an actual being there that they're talking to. And having them to stop that stunts the growth of their emotional growth, their spiritual growth. So just let her have at it. And she was like, my God, no one's ever said that to me. I said, you walked into the right store at the right time.
Right. And that's the one thing that the people need to hear, you know, because
stop stunting your children. Allow them to have their imaginary friends, you know, because their imaginary friends are beings. Now, whether we understand them as grown-ups, because our minds have closed so much, and I'm going to say we because I'm a grown-up sometimes as well. We have to allow the children to have that ability to go. And one thing you said earlier about you agree that guided meditation is important. For me, it is, because I have tried all kinds of meditations. One of the ones that don't tell my husband, but the one where I go mostly into meditation is when I'm doing dishes. When my hands are in water, I'm not thinking about all the other stuff that's going on through the day. I'm thinking about washing the dish, and it's like just automatic. And then my mind just sort of wanders. So things come to me, and I wish that I could write at the same time as wash dishes, but doesn't always work. But a guided meditation, the first one I ever had, it had me shower. No, shower never does it. Washing dishes does. I have to be doing something, not just washing.
Shower is good for grounding.
Water is definitely.
But I did a guided meditation where and I don't remember whether it's a man or a woman's voice, because I have issues with some people's voices who sound like nails on a chalkboard. And they were telling me to go up this path, up the mountain, and to go into this wood cabin and the whole bit. And when I got in, I followed everything the way they said it in the meditation. But when I got into the cabin, it changed. I lost the listening to what they were saying, and all of a sudden I saw what I saw. Half of the cabin was still. It had a fireplace, and it had a little table and two big old armchairs and a teapot and the steam coming out of the teapot. But when I went to turn to look back at the front door, there was no door there. All I could see was the woods, and I could see eyes of animals and beings and whatever. And I was never so comfortable in my life. And I can't find that audio again.
Oh my God, that's what I'm always saying, right? I had done the same thing. I did a guided meditation to find your animal spirit guide, right? Or actually, no, it was to find your spirit guide, and I found my animal spirit guide, because it was walk through the thing, go into a cave, right? And you're supposed to stay in the cave,
right,
and wait for your spirit guide to come. Well, what I see is a little pick of light So of course I go right to it and I got to pick at it, and then it kind of crumbles down and there's a field, and in the field right there's foxes running back and forth, right? And they are the guardians between our realm and the spiritual realm. They are the guardians, right? Didn't know this at the time, but now, but and then beyond that there was a being, and I actually drew the picture and I have it on here.
Yeah, the picture's still.
Oh, I'd love to see it. Can you show us? That would be cool.
Absolutely. So, okay, let me just do this. So the foxes are going back and forth. So I'm kind of with the foxes, and I'm looking up, and there's an altar. There's a being standing there, long hair, long robes, facing the other way. And then it just turned and looked at me. And this is what it looked like. It looked like almost like a lion-like face, right? But so surreal, so serene, so intelligent. I knew I should not talk to this being. He's so far above me, and he had a big book on the thing too. It's huge. So I don't know what he was looking at, what he was doing, what he was reading, but the foxes were keeping me at bay. And he was way up there, but he turned and he just looked at me and looked at me and looked at me. And then he just turned and went back to doing what he was doing. And I just kind of creeped back into my little cave that I was supposed to be in to begin with. But then the meditation pulled you out, now everyone else that was, doing the same thing at the same time all had their regular experiences where they stayed in the room and they had people coming in and loved ones and this and that. Some had nothing. And I had that. And I'm like, wow, you
were impacted so much that you drew it. So my thoughts are it was communicating with you telepathically or on some level.
On a level, but on the level that I got it, that I'm not ready for that yet. At that point, I was not.
You know what? So, I would just say be open to it, because when you are ready, when you open up, because here's the other thing, you have to be open. However open you are and willing you are, you're going to have more experience. So just open to it. It was shown to you for a reason. And when you're ready and open, you're going to get the communication. Just as I said, when I was doing my first Reiki attunement, Jesus appeared to me and he put this big wooden box in my hands. I could feel him. I know I didn't. People say, what did he look like? You didn't really see him. And I'm like, well, I didn't really clearly see his face, but I knew it was him. He was giving me this. And they were like, what's in the box? And I'm like, through the years in meditation, I'll open up the box and here's what I've seen. There's this book and it's all embossed. So it's got to be sacred knowledge. There's a bunch of stuff. There's a little orb, a little white orb, and you're supposed to take it out and use it to heal things. It morphs into different things. There's a whole bunch of other stuff in that box.
I wonder if it's some type of a
crystal.
A crystal for healing, because you said healing. You know what I mean?
It's a white orb, and it does change. So I don't know what it is, but it's big. It's like this big. Wow. And you can move it and it floats, and I don't know exactly what it is, but what I'm telling you about this man is when you're open enough to it and the time is right, you're going to get a communication. Just be allowing and willing to hear what it is.
Definitely. But it just was, that was so long ago, and I will never forget it. And never, it's as vivid in my mind as when it happened. And that was the point, that was that turning point that, okay, this works, and it was just such a really great guided meditation. It was just long enough to get you out of your day to day, with the breathing and a lot of breathing. And I need that to stop my mind. And there was a lot of stopping of the mind before we started on our trail.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really needed that. So I wish I knew what this meditation was, because man, I would have everybody do it.
You know what I think? That would be a great show. Sorry, Nancy. That would be an interesting show if everybody could just tell us what their first aha moment in meditation is. At least one. That would be interesting.
That's a really good idea. But she has some meditations, that you can listen to. and you can listen to it again and again and again and again and again, you know.
Yeah.
So again, when you get the book and there's a QR code and a site that you can go to if you don't have the QR code at the beginning, and you can put that in, and that opens up all the things and explanations and her guided meditations.
I'm definitely going to be trying your meditation, your guided meditations.
Can I tell you though, almost every single meditation is like, everyone is complete. Each one's completely different, but they're so bizarre and beautiful. And a lot of times I'll cry, just tears of exquisite bliss. There's one time I like to lay down when I meditate, and I know that that's not like a popular way, but I feel like, oh my God, I go so deep. This one time we had to dematerialize and rematerialize. And when I came back, I always felt like I was vibrating, everything like this. I went out and I said to my husband, honey, touch me. Do I feel different? And he goes, no, you don't feel. I mean, I'm a potatoes guy, and he does not meditate. He goes, no, you feel the same. And I was like buzzing, like, you know that, you know, you're having these profound experiences. So I just want to say that be open to having like crazy things happen almost every time you meditate. And then if one time nothing happens, let it be okay. That's right. There, you know, those ones where you go into the nothingness and you're just in the nothingness, it's like the best vacation. You just needed it. Yep. You needed to just be in the nothingness. And you come back so refreshed and beautiful.
I look forward to the nothingness because this little monkey brain is always freaking busy of all kinds of stuff. It takes me a good 15 minutes to let all the monkey stuff go away. And then I can get into a meditation. But like I said, for me, it depends on the voice that's doing the guided meditation. Nails on the chalkboard, I love you, but no, I don't think so. Right now, my voice is just nails on the chalkboard.
My GPS on my phone, my maps one, right? Not Waze, maps. Right? I was put it in, I had to go to a doctor's office today. And there's a road closed. So now it does this funky thing. It's been doing this. It starts out with a girl voice, right? And the girl voice leaves, and then we'd get to the end of that street that's actually closed right now, and it would turn as I'm turning the corner into a male voice. Like,
does it say, don't stop and ask for directions?
I'm like, okay. But now the road was closed. This whiny voice that comes on like this, right? And I'm like, what the hell is this? And she kept talking until I went all the way around and get on to the regular thing, and then the normal girl voice. Like, this thing.
Oh my God.
I've never had it happen. You know, maybe it's a spirit guide talking to you.
It was a very whiny voice way up there. You know what I mean?
Wasn't me.
I'm like, what is
I always
this?
keep saying I'm off my voice on GPS, but it's like,
Oh, that's so funny.
It's crazy. I'm like asking other people. I'm like, does your maps do this to you? I'm like, no. Okay. It's just my luck. But this is still getting to me. It's like I just.
So, now I have put the link to your website into the chat room, and I'll do it again, at least a couple of times throughout the show. Can people reach your guided meditations through the website, or is it specifically the
ones that she's talking about are in the book? So you buy the book, and there's paperback, there's Kindle, there's Audible, but to me the paperback's the best one because it's got that little code in it, and then it's me actually talking like this to people. Right. So when you record an Audible book, if you don't record it and read it exactly as it's written, it kicks you out. It won't accept your book. So I forget what it's called, but it's got to be exactly word for word. So nice. when I'm doing it, I'm talking a lot more informally and guiding them through the meditation. And I like that. There's 8 audio files that come with it. Some of it's just like an explanation, like I'm talking like this. I wanted that individual,
Human
like
factor.
reach
It's
out
like,
and
yeah, I'm a
actually,
real person that's
yeah.
wrote this for you. I'm experiencing this, and you
Mhm.
can too. And that's what you're really getting across. Is It's just that you're human, and you're not a doctor speaking in clinical terms, and you're not do this, do that, do this. It's like you're gonna feel like
Mhm. Yeah.
and you explain like that, and I love that. But now, there was an
I'm gonna have to get the book. Shopping, I know.
So Mama D too, they can get a free meditation if they go to trustthedivine.com, scroll all the way to the bottom. They get this really beautiful meditation called You Are Beautiful. I love it because so many people, like, they're not okay with themselves, and they just, it's very short. All my meditations are like 10 to 12 minutes because I think our attention spans are short, and I don't think you have to be 2 hours in meditation. You
Yeah.
don't. And at least that's what Spirit and Source is wanting me to do. A lot of this was guided. A lot. I mean, it was all channeled. I really can't take
like
credit for it. It told me what it wanted, and I went with it. I did exactly what it asked me to do. So all the meditations are short. So they can get a free one on trustthedivine.com all the way on the homepage to the bottom. So You're Beautiful. Then I do have a lot of other free things I want to talk to them about. So if they buy the book and they take the Amazon code, they can buy a Kindle. It's only like $5.99. Take the Amazon code and put it into divinetrustbook.com, and they'll get 4 free things. They'll get a Happy for No Reason workbook. They'll get a healing meditation by Dr. Sue Morter, and then they'll get me explaining, the quick version of trust, and then the meditation. So they'll get 4 free things. But I also wanted to tell them I work really, really hard to get my masterclass done and completed and up on my website for you guys. And if you put in Trust 50, they can get it off 50% off of it.
Just
Nice.
for 10 days, 10 days for you guys listening to this show right now. This is when this is going to be. So trustthedivine.com/masterclass. Go there. Put in that code, TRUST50, and you will get 50% off. And
Yep.
like I said, the book isn't.
I went to the class.
The book is a read in the morning thing. It's the meditations and the other things make it longer. Go through it the first time to get the gist of it, and then when you're doing these other things, you go back to refer to it, and hopefully you end up with this divine trust. And you know what? I didn't even ask you. What is your definition of divine trust?
Oh, I love it. When you look it up in the Webster, it says it's the firm belief in the reliability, truth, or strength of a thing. In this case, we're talking about source energy or God. Now, that's faith, right? That's the first time you reach out, you're reaching out in faith because you don't know it. What I'm talking about is this one-on-one direct relationship with source, where it's actually like my best friend. I commune with it. I surrender to it every morning before I get out of bed. I first do a self-love process, and then I surrender to it, and I let it look through my eyes, give me the thoughts, speak through my mouth. So I kind of go down each chakra, and then I can feel it come into my hand, my right hand, my left hand. So it can feel, and then into each leg. And then I just let it fill out my whole complete energy field. So it surrender to it. So I trust it so much that no matter what happens, no matter what anyone says to me, I 100% with all my beingness know that everything is perfectly fine, and there's not ever a hair out of place ever, nor has there ever been. So this is trust, where it is without a doubt. There is nothing that ever happens that's wrong or out of place. It's all divinely unfolding perfectly. So when you take that and you have, do we have to go to a break?
Nope, no, not yet. I think we'll hear her pop on when she comes on. We'll
let you know. You got minimum 15 minutes.
Even still, with the divine trust, it's not like everything is sunshine, daisies, and lollipops. I mean, we have our ups and downs because we can't enjoy the highs without the lows.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a practical way I've used it. So, I'm gonna make it first a little bit lighter, and then we're gonna get into a little bit heavier, and then you can see. So, 2018, my mom is dying of cancer. I'm leaning over, not sorry, of Alzheimer's. She did not die of cancer. Remember, she was healed, but she had Alzheimer's. I'm leaning over her bed. I'm working my butt off. I'm working, and then I'm driving 3 hours to be with her, and then I'm driving back to work. And all of a sudden, my back starts to feel like this twinge, and I'm a runner. So I kept running, just run it off, right? Kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I went to the chiropractor, and it was so bad I couldn't even breathe. It was taking my breath away. So now here, most people would be like, that's a really bad thing, right? And I'm like, I know there's a reason for it. I trust. I had already mastered trust at this point. So I'm like, I don't know why, but I love being an orthodontist so much that if this didn't happen, I wouldn't have made the decision to sell my practice and to walk out, right? So I put it up for sale, not knowing why. I'm just like, God, I know, I trust you. I know that this back thing, I found out I had 4 herniations and 17 bulging discs. And every time I was leaning over a patient, it was making it worse. Oh, yeah. God, I trust you. I know there's a reason for it. I feel like your hand behind me gently guiding me out. So I sold the practice. It sold so fast. And then 4 days later, I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? What the hell am I going to do? It's like, you feel like you're stepping off a cliff, right? And there's no ground beneath you, but you're going to do it anyway because you trust. I had timed it to do a spiritual retreat that was going to be 4 days after I left. It would start. And I rented a condo on the beach for a month so I could just decompress through all the sale and the COVID and all of that. My mom dying in the Parkland shooting, and I had not written the book, right? But my intention was, God, give me my next divine assignment. Why did you have me do this? So that's how I went into the retreat with this. The first day of a 4-day retreat, I heard, well, you've mastered trust. You're going to write a book about trusting in us. And I'm like, I'm a scientist. I'm not a writer. This is my weakest point. Why would you look at me and ask me to do this? I argued with it, right? Second day,
we all do.
Yes. But it's just logical.
Author channel that was doing the same thing.
So on the second day of the retreat, a different meditation, a different process, a different person. Now I heard him way more specific. We have worked with you for years to master trusting us. It's time for you to bring it to the world. You have mastered it. You need to bring it to the world. So I'm like, okay, not arguing with it again.
Right.
It was like, it's not my voice. People say it's your voice. No, it was not my voice. It was some other voice. So I would say it was a little bit on the masculine side. So I believe source is not male nor female, but this voice was on the masculine side. So go ahead.
It's something that a friend of mine who's a medium, and he always told people who are trying to understand, what the voice is that they're getting from. And people go, oh, no, it's the voice in your head. Always ask source or guides or whomever is speaking to you to speak in a voice that's not yours. That's a complete opposite. Like for me, for us here, you would want to hear a masculine voice because it's not your own voice. Your voice is not masculine, except for
right. You know it's not yours.
Yeah, so it's not yours. So this is why for me, this is why you heard the masculine voice, was because this way you could make sure to say, that's not my voice.
Right.
My voice.
And I'm not imagining. It's not my imagination.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, third day I heard nothing, but I didn't let it bother me. That's where, you have those meditations where nothing happens. Don't let it bother you. Don't even think twice about it. We're just supposed to have that. And trust.
Yep.
Fourth day, here we are in another process with another person. And I hear, here's the outline for your book. We're going to write it out chapter by chapter. Get up and write this down. And I did. And it outlined the whole book. And I was kind of like in a trance, and it outlined the whole book. And then the retreat was over and my dad got sick. But here's the weird thing. So now I'm 3.5 hours from home. Where did my dad get sick and end up in the hospital? Just take a guess.
On your way there.
8 minutes from where my condo was.
Wow.
Yep.
And I'm like, dang, you guys are so brilliant how you orchestrate things. So always listen to your intention. I mean, what your intuition, because it's always going to lead you in the right way. So I mean, he did die, but I got to spend the best time of our lives together, the most nourishing, loving, one-on-one time, which in your busy life you don't get. But I got to spend a whole month with him. It was just like so special. It was so precious to me. And it was
a hug if I was there.
What's that?
Did I give you a hug if I was there?
Oh, thank you. I give you I'll take it.
You know, it's like, oh my God. But that's such treasured times, you know, to have that memory. But it is divinely put in our path. People, places, things, timing, everything. There are no coincidences. There are no coincidences that, you know, we do this show. There's no coincidences the guest we have, you know. And it's like it never ceases to amaze me, you know, and to listen to people's stories. I absolutely love that, on how all of this comes to play, you know. And it's all you got to do the footwork, though. You know what I mean? You got to do that work to get yourself to that state in order to receive all this. And like all the things that you're saying, it's so important, that trust, that openness, that be able to accept it, be ready for it, you know,
willing
for it, and then send it away, you know. It's like you're gonna ask it because it's gonna come. Right. You're asking for it, so just make sure that you are prepared when it comes. And it does freak a lot of people out, you know.
Yeah,
they do go running for the hills for a little bit, but you know, hopefully they come back.
You know, my teacher used to tell me, like, one of my biggest stumbling blocks was not being accepting. And I didn't even know what she meant when she first said it. What do you mean? I'm not accepting. I'm accepting. You know, and we don't want to see what's like right here. And the more you embrace something like that, okay, I'm not accepting. What am I not accepting? And it was my full light that I am this. And it was by communing with this source energy that I'm talking about, and reaching out, having my one-on-one relationship, and it just floods in and it transforms you. And it actually literally, I feel every cell or subatomic particle, probably some people call it Godtrons, or, you know, photons, different things, positrons. Okay. It comes in and it just aligns everything. It just makes you vibrate, because we're vibrational beings, and it makes you vibrate with it and be it. And then, you know, lo and behold, you keep staying with it, you keep surrendering to it. And the next thing you know, you're transformed. I would love to do, Darlene, I want to do a process for you once we have, like, it's going to take like 10 minutes. Because
so after midpoint, after Athena comes and goes.
Actually, we have 10 minutes before she gets here.
Does she? Okay, I'm looking to look at the time. Okay,
so
all right. Do you want to do that? Because I want to show you a practical way you can use this energy to help you. And
yes, she's not good, but she's going to help her right now.
And George, use this process too if you're feeling under the weather. If it was, did he say he was feeling under the weather, or he said
everyone?
Mama D. Okay. Yeah, so, okay. Yes.
Yeah, it breaks his heart that she's feeling under the weather.
We can do this with anything. So just, you know, bring into mind something that your mind labels as, it's like lacking, missing, or wrong, or a blaming, shaming, and complaining aspect. Just something that's an irritant like that. It could be about you, it could be about someone else. But I like to say if it's something relating to yourself, like for Mama D, we're gonna do, she's a little bit got like a cold kind of thing going on. So we're gonna use this and we're gonna bring the light, source energy in, and we're gonna plant our 2 feet and we are going to turn towards whatever that is that's bothering us. In your case, I'm going to do it with you, Mama D. I'm going to do it with you, and we're going to look at it and we're going to welcome it. We're going to accept it. And then we're just going to send it love. And we're going to feel it and see it. We're going to be with it in the present moment. And we're going to try to give it, sometimes I'll give it a shape or a color or a place. And then we're going to look at it with the full illumination of our consciousness and source working through us. And we're going to just look at it. Okay, I'm not going to say what's going to happen.
Okay.
But we're going to look at it. All right? And we're going to look at it with the full consciousness of source working through us. Okay? And everyone else, you pick something else that you want to look at, and just listen to me through the guided meditation. Okay, it's probably about 10 minutes. Is that okay?
Well, we've
only got 4 minutes. Gina, let's wait till after the break.
Yeah. All right.
Because I don't want, because I know Athena has to go has things to do.
Right.
Hold on a second. Okay, by the way, George was my co-host on Getting Over the Hump. He was my imposter on Halloween night. If nobody's seen it, go to my YouTube channel and get to watch Mama G. She was a ho. I have too much paranormal sexy. Yes, you are. And the only thing that controls your paranormal sexy is that gorgeous wife of you who has the whip. George, babe.
Yep. Miss you, dude. Really.
We need to get together. We need to have you back here. Damn it.
So I just sent Athena a couple of messages. I know she was super busy today, and because she was not feeling well.
In my learnings about you, one of the things I noticed, and it's because you were raised Catholic.
Yes.
So what do you see with the Catholicism going on now? How do you see it? Like, I know. Even for me, even as a child, when I used to do Wednesdays was the youth group we used to have and go and learn to do prayers. And we had the Sunday 10 o'clock mass where we would sing. We had the priest with the guitar. But every time I would go, I would get into the angels that were everywhere around me. The priest had to physically poke me and shake me to sort of bring me back into the net here and now. So what do you see going on? Like, I don't know. How do you see the Catholicism now, the Roman Catholic Church and everything else?
And I don't want to turn off a lot of, religious people.
That's
but
okay.
The book actually unites all religions and atheism. So it's a uniting book. So but for me, Catholicism doesn't touch what this book does. This book is so one-on-one. For me, Catholicism, you have the middleman, and it's the priest, and the priest is allowed to know God, but you're not worthy to say the word and I shall be healed.
Yep.
And that really I'm like, where is this worthiness problem? I knew I had a limiting belief that I wasn't worthy. Like this, I've been hearing I'm supposed to carry this energy for 25 years, but I ran out of there thinking I'm not worthy. What are you, shut up.
Yeah.
The voices I was hearing.
I'm not worthy.
I'm not worthy. Right. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I started to ask, where's this worthiness issue coming? Well, I do believe it's in the collective. I believe the collective consciousness has a problem with worthiness. I do believe that. So from the Catholicism, you do say that you're taught you're not worthy, you're taught you're dirty, you're taught you're a sinner, and then you have to go to confession, right?
Oh
So,
God, I used to hate that.
It's still a power kick,
All
though.
the time.
Everything with man is a power kick. Everyone wants to have the ultimate power. So, you go way back to, the Spanish Inquisition. It's like power. And where's the power? In religion. So people have been banking on that and
well,
morphing
it
that.
is, it is controlling the masses. It's got a control issue. And the more they keep you down, so you have to look up to them, the more they can tell you what to do.
Right.
So I think religions, although they have this really beautiful divine in them, I believe that it's the man-made control and the power. I'm reading
A lot of people need that, though, right? Because otherwise they're out of control. All right, like,
But it's only a foundation to build on.
right? But we're born with the basic, knowledge of right and wrong.
Yeah.
And some people tend to blur that line, right? But they need rules and regulations and laws and things to keep the masses in line. I mean, it's needed. It is needed. There's no doubt, right? Because left to our own devices, oh my God. Right?
That was all.
Lord knows where we would be. However, if you're going to be studying the different religions and really looking at everything that they have to offer, and you can decide. That's our free will. That's our gift from the divine, our free will, right? You pick and choose from all these things. Okay, well, I like this and I like this and I like this and I like this, which is kind of what religion does too, because it's like, believe everything you do, but not this. So this is our religion. And then this one is, well, I believe this and this, but none of those. And this is our religion, but to your own religion, right? But be your own leader.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, religion, okay, which is somebody else's belief, is a foundation for us to build on. So long as your mind is open to everybody else's, this is where you get to pick and choose different things. There's a little bit from the Quran. There's a little bit from, from each different religion that I've learned, that I've picked up on. And it's like, that makes sense. I mean, the first thing for me as a teenager, okay, I was a smart ass, okay. The first thing for me when I learned about the birds and the bees was, how the heck did Mary get pregnant without having sex? So how is she still a virgin? I'm sorry, everyone's going to be ticked off at me for that one, but that was my biggest question. When I was 16 and I was asking that question, the priests in my church were going, you're not supposed to ask questions. Those are questions we're not going to be able to answer. That, this is church, we don't talk about. But it's something I wanted to know. And so I had my issues with believing in that. So this is where I went out and paid attention to other stuff. So that's where, for me, I was, the angels were always my thing. And that's one of the things that I connected to first. And it took me a while to realize that. But every religion every religion is a foundation to build upon. So if you're Protestant, you're Catholic, you're, Hasidic Jew or Muslim or Buddhist, it's a foundation. It's where you build your tree. It's how you plant your field, what you want to listen to.
When you ask for, proof, you will get it. I was thumped on the head. I was having drugs and alcohol when I was younger, and I was turning into that little kid. Well, because someone from AA was telling me, you got to trust in God and blah, blah. I'm like, God, are you kidding me? If God was real, and he would never let all these things have been happening to me. If he's real, then he would shut my mind off and I do this and I go to sit on the couch and bam. I mean, it was an iron gate clad solid boof right out. My eyes are wide open. I am not passed out. I am not anything. I cannot see anything but black. Right. And it seemed like, I don't even know. It seemed like a very long time, but I think it was maybe just minutes. I don't really know. And then I come out of it. And because I was on the phone with this guy, Kevin, at the time. This is who was telling me to trust in God. And I'm acting like a 2-year-old, basically. Right. And I'm having my fit. And then I come out of it and he's like, what happened? And I said, I told him, he goes, well, good. God just thumped you. So he's telling you that he's here and that he exists and that he believes in you and he has faith in you and that, you can do this and blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know what I think? I think I'm going crazy. That's what I think. And he's like, he says, well, that's all right. You think you're crazy as long as you believe it because it just happened, and it took me a while to believe it, but.
Yeah. And that's the thing. People use the word God like it's the be all and the end all. It's not. Everybody has a different name for their higher power, their source, Allah, Buddha, whatever the case may be. People just have to be open. It's like Mary Jane in the chat room says, a little bit of everything.
Right.
If we are in this place that we are now, if we pay attention to everything, we'll come up with our own religion. Can we say?
Yes.
I put that in the chat. We will understand what it's necessary for us to understand. Gina got the gate shut down on her. I got the angels that were in my thing. Everybody gets something, but the thing is, stop waiting for the clad iron gate to shut down on your butt. It might be as simple. When I'm also a Reiki master. When I send healing to somebody, it goes in the form on butterfly wings. That's why I'm in a butterfly. And everybody I've ever sent, and I got my confirmation the very first time I sent Reiki to an adorable 18-month-old child who was going for blood tests because he was born with renal failure and all this stuff. And the thing he hated the most was blood tests. And his mom and we spoke. They were in Australia, and we spoke all the time. And I said to him, okay, when he goes, you just tell him that Mama D sent him somebody to help him, but he has to sit very, very quiet and very, very still and just turn his head to make sure and see if he can find who Mama D sent him. I didn't even tell her what I sent. I just knew that I was sending it on wings of a butterfly. That's where I went. And she said she called me back later that day, or messaged me back later that day, and she says he was absolutely still. He was moving his head and she said all of a sudden this smile came across his face. Just as they were about to put the needle in for the blood test, he smiled from ear to ear, and with the free hand he went flutter by, flutter by. So to me, that was my confirmation that what I was doing was exactly what was necessary. And me and the butterflies, we have been with that way ever since.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
It's just, you just have to stop waiting for that big ta-da. I had a friend who I sent healing to, and he was out doing something in his car. And as he had a hatchback car. And as he closed the trunk of the hatchback, sitting on the top of his car was a butterfly. And I was like, you can't get escaped from me, right? Right? But it's just, everybody has to pay attention. Today, Gina's feather. It's just a confirmation. Yeah. If anybody missed the beginning of the show, Gina was doing some work and she had to readjust something, and boom.
This table.
Sharon has to get up at 7 a.m. Ooh. That should be illegal. 7
Hey, Mama D, I want to go back to your, just because something is just wants to be said, and it's about religion. And it's when we label things and we have to categorize them and label them, we're missing the point. It's like if we could flow with it and accept it and embrace the differences in all without making other religions wrong or no religion wrong or what we're doing wrong, just embrace it all. That's global unity, kind of the flavor. What's that?
That's global unity, and that will never happen.
Yes,
and that's
I do think that's what I'm shown. I'm shown that's happened. Yes. No, it's
I know it's happening. It's happening now more. And it's happening now more because people, we're open about it. We're talking about it, doing these shows. We're getting other people in it. But there's always going to be those people in power that are going to try to stop it because they're afraid of it.
Yes.
This is the ultimate power.
But I see two-thirds to three-quarters of the planet lighting up with this information. And it has to do with the power of the individual. And we're no longer going to be controlled by, the powers that be. We are going to be the ones in power. We are going to be that shining light. They're going to serve us. We're no longer going to serve them. Do you understand the difference and the distinction?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure of what's going to happen. Now, is it in our lifetime? I don't know, but that's
wonderful to see.
That is the way we're headed. And it's all about the individual glowing diamond, sparkling light that we are. And we're going to be aware of it. We're going to be living it. We're going to be expressing it. We're going to be living from the right brain and the present moment, unified. We're not going to be labeling. We're going to be embracing the differences and celebrating them. We're not going to be labeling them. And like we are right now, it's like so deliberate, labeled, and there's victimhood and pointing fingers and my God, blaming, shaming, complaining. And it's like
just wars. It goes way back to the dawn of time. I mean, it is a power crazed.
Do you know the chakras, right?
Yeah.
So I believe the chakras are our evolutionary process. And right now we're in stuck between chakra 2 and 3, between the emotion and the mental. And we're now hitting this. You heard the ascension. Well, I felt it. I didn't know what it was. I just felt we are going somewhere maybe to the 5th or the 6th. That's where humanity is going to end up in this huge transformation, what's happening. And it's because there's so much light on the planet. So many people are waking up. Do you know we're on a 2,000-year revolution around the sun, and we're in the Kuiper Belt, so we're getting hit with all this light right now, which might be why we're waking up at a higher degree. Like there is such a
the planet is also shifting back, because you know how the tectonic plates shift on the planet? They're shifting back to where they were those many years ago, that they said, like when all the pyramids were all constructed and actually the energy was working properly, and all these things are sparking, they're re-sparking, so all these ley lines are coming back into play, all these things, everything is coming back into play, all our quartzes and things that are underground that is traveling with all this energy around is coming back into play. That hasn't been for so long, because it shifted so far up, but now it's going, fixing the circle and shifting right back into place again. And it's a fact. It's a proven fact, And they did this big thing in Antarctica, where these things are coming alive. It's crazy. It is crazy. But Athena, on that note, we're going to pick this back up, because Athena is here. She is going to be doing our crystal of the week, and then she's going to quickly come in and quickly go. I know you two know each other. And we'll play her little video and let her join, and then we'll be joining her after.
Oh, hello, loves. Hello, everyone. I am Athena Barry, Reiki Master and author of award-winning book, Raise Your Vibes, and my new Oracle deck, as you just saw in that beautiful intro. Thank you. Raise Your Vibes crystal cards. And I am so grateful to be back here for another episode of the Fox Den with our Crystal of a Crystal of the Week segment. And it's so wonderful for today's show, especially talking about all this with divine trust. I absolutely love it. And our last full moon of 2022, which is happening tonight. Like, this is the tail end of it right now. So I love that we're able to connect with this for this crystal. And so because of this, I felt really called to the energy of my rose quartz seer stone. So I don't know if you can see that kind of that shine there. Oh my God, this is such an amazing crystal. So This crystal, it's been known, this called a seer stone, has been known throughout history as being an interpreter, with the mention going back to the days of Palestine or ancient Israel, as well as it's heavily mentioned throughout the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in their Book of Mormon, the Book of Messiah, where Joseph, their prophet, carried with him seer stones that, and it's also mentioned in the Bible in, I think it's called Ether. I'm not sure about the pronunciation. Sorry, all my fellow Christians, but it's Ether 3:1. And in this, the idea behind this seer stone, and I'll get into even more of this, is that they believe that this was touched by the hand of God. And Joseph, in particular, as the story goes, had 16 of these stones, as well as in the Bible, they had stones of this, and that when Jesus or God laid their hands or their fingers on these stone, it would give the followers or the worshipers, the religious people on their journey, it would give them clear sight so that they would be able to find the correct path on their journey. And it's very symbolic of our time now, because seer stones are excellent for helping us to see our path more clearly, to see what our purpose is, or as it unfolds. Witches and witchy women, they use these much like a crystal ball. So it's a way to look into your past, look into your present, and look into your future. Likewise, shamans, same thing. They would use this to have clear sight into others' journeys or the warriors' journeys to help them find safe passage and help them find their purpose. I personally picked up my very first seer stone. It was this one, well, my first and only actually, at a Native American store called the Spirit Lodge. It's a crystal shop here in Woodland Hills. And, I was browsing through, looking through the crystals, and I really felt called to this one, but I knew it was a rose quartz, but I hadn't seen this kind before. And the elder came over to me as he sees I'm looking at it, and he starts telling me, that this is a seer stone. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I know that. No, I have no idea what that means. And so he started talking to me about it and saying how people would use this and elders would use this, again, for that clear sight. But clear sight with rose quartz is especially beautiful because you are seeing through a filter of love. So when you see things through, a filter of love, your entire perspective changes. So I took this home and I started using them in my crystal grids, and I started using them for my distance Reiki clients. Now, I didn't have that many back then. This is quite a few years ago, but I just wanted to try. I just thought, what if I start incorporating, the idea and the intention of seeing from a place of love? And this was especially, I would use this for clients that, felt very defeated with whatever obstacle they were facing, or just kind of lost on their journey. They don't know what their purpose is, as well as, anyone who was having struggles with their relationships. And I started to notice that shortly after their Reiki sessions, they would begin having these amazing shifts in their perspective. So it wasn't like when I would put it in their crystal grid that they were looking into their past or their future, but it was like they were able to then see their own life through their heart center, or, through rose-colored glasses, but not in the sense that rose-colored glasses are like you're seeing something that's not reality. With a seer's rose quartz stone, you are seeing reality, but you're seeing it with this filter, you're seeing it from this place of love. And this higher perspective, this higher vibration of love creates a shift in ourselves as well as for others, because I started to see this and I started to have communication with those that had crossed over on the other side. And I thought maybe they're spirit guides. And then I would have them whisper nicknames to me, and I would tell the client, and they were like, oh my goodness, that's my grandmother's nickname for me. And it was just so many of these, synchronicities and things that would happen. It was at first, okay, yes, I thought maybe I was a little crazy, but I realized it was because I was having this beautiful filter of love, and I was able to transcend past, present, future, so that we could come together and deal with our struggles and our relationships in our current, in the now, in our present now. And when we do this, when we shift our perspective, we are able to not only understand our partners or our friends or our bosses or whoever we're in this, kind of any relationship with that we're struggling, but we're able to kind of understand and have compassion for the other person. We understand where they're coming from or where they're struggling. And when you feel this in your heart, you can view them not from, a place of anger or frustration, but a place of compassion and of love. This stone is wonderful for activating our crown, our third eye, and our heart chakra, though I am sure you can use them for any of the chakras, because it is, again, it's that vibration of love. So if you feel like you're struggling in another area, holding on to your rose quartz seer stone can help you really to understand and see why you are struggling there, but in a nice way, like in a way that comes from compassion, not irritability. And then as well as this, because it activates our crown chakra, it's like you are receiving that divine knowledge. And then through our third eye, you are able to see or decipher, understand what the message is, what's coming through, how do I apply this to my life? Well, we do this through our third eye. And then because it's coming from our heart space, our heart chakra, we are then able to move forward with compassion, with love, with sight from a place of love. And when we work with that, it's life-changing. It literally changes your life. And it's an incredible, incredible feeling. It allows you to have that divine trust. It allows you to trust in divine timing as well, so we don't get kind of ahead of ourselves. Ways that you can work with this crystal, it is an excellent choice, again, for our spiritual baths. I love bathing with my crystals. I sleep with them, I bathe with them, I stick them in my bra and my pockets. But this one is one that you'll want to keep close to you. If you're doing any kind of divination work, so for example, tonight is the full moon. This is an excellent stone to meditate with or to hold next to you while you're doing your journaling. So if you want to do a ritual for release, this is a really good stone to keep next to you, because then you're able to kind of see from a place of love what you want to release, and then think, is this really something that I want to release? Or is this something where I can shift my perspective and bring healing to that space, and then let go and release the anger or the irritation that it's attached to it? Sometimes we want to get rid of like a person in our lives. Well, sometimes that person is meant to be here to help you learn and to help you grow. And yes, you want to release that, but our lesson has not been served yet. And rose quartz seer stone is really good at helping us to see that, right? So yes, so we see it and we see it. And then of course, if you want to hold this in your hand while you meditate or under your pillow at night, it can be really good for your dreams. As we're dreaming, we're having that, that divine intuition, that divine knowledge coming to us, and it often comes to us in our dreams. So you might find after sleeping with a seer stone rose quartz, that your dreams are very lucid, that you're having incredible visuals, and that it just seems so real that you're not sure, you're questioning if it happened or not. So that's kind of what you can expect from those dreams. But always, again, from a place of love. So it's not something that's scary. It's something that comes with compassion. And then of course, if you don't have one, because they're not as common of a stone. So if you don't have one, of course, I had a great time creating an ASMR Reiki session for you that I created on my own channel, Crystal Reiki Healer, that you can connect with after the show, of course. And this one, you can use this to connect to this crystal energy and, see perhaps your own struggles from a place of love to help you move through them rather than running away from them. And of course, I love to leave you with a wonderful affirmation to help you connect with your crystal's energy. And for this one, it is, I am able to communicate and see all things from a place of love. Thank you, ladies, so much for having me here, joining you on the Fox Den. I hope that this has brought some value to your show.
I gotta unmute and add to the stream. And I know you two know each other.
Yes, and I went and I got my
Oh, that's not fair. I need to. I have to every week. I have to be honest. Every week, if I don't have the crystal that Athena's talking about, it's on the list. I'm going to go shopping soon.
I know it's really dangerous hanging around me, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, as I said to Gina earlier before we came on the show, I said, Athena's going to have to make me a box, and every time she comes up with a new stone, she's going to put it in a box and ship it to me, or I'll just go pick it up whenever I come to California.
But,
oh yes, I vote yes for coming down. Oh, and then you're
right?
together.
This was right here next to my desk right before the show started.
Oh my gosh.
Look how big it is. It's not from anything. It's not from a pillow. It's not from
the angels.
I'm
looking at Mama D. Mama D, my angel tonight.
Yep.
Scary one, isn't it?
Always my angel.
You know, I have found feathers in my shoes even.
Really?
Yeah, so random, where I will go into my closet, and I think I've shared this with Dr. Nancy, right? Have I shared this with you?
I don't think so.
No. I was kind of just starting out. I hadn't really even gotten into, you know, all the crystals and all that stuff yet. I did have one rose quartz that apparently was a pendulum, and I didn't know what a pendulum was. So I thought like, oh, do we just like hang that in the window? What do I do with it? Right. It was very, very newbie, but I was going into my closet and I went to change and there was a feather in my shoe. And I had just been speaking with my best friend about angels. And I was like, wow, this is really weird. And, you know, in my shoe, I found it very symbolic that I was, you know, on a new path. And that's why it was, you know, with my shoes, it was like, welcome to the new journey. Here you go.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. Divine timing as always. You know,
looked at it. Oh my
God. Yeah. And it's true because I began, yes, there's the book. Oh my gosh. And that began the new journey. And everything really changed after that. And it really comes down to having that divine trust. I mean, there's no bones about it. You know, it's you're trusting your imagination, trusting in divine timing, trusting in the sensations, the energy that you feel, and the direction that you're called to move forward on. You know, it's all part of it. So, Dr. Nancy, it's so lovely to see you. I wish that I could stay with you guys. I have to go run and be mom because
we know.
My husband's not here.
We know. You have a lot of lovely, wonderful sentiments going heading your way in the chat. So
love to everybody.
Thank
you. Wonderful. I wish I say, but I heard you're having a meditation and I am so excited. So after I'm done being mom, I'll come back and I'll just watch it on YouTube and I'll tune in or I might have to go back, rewind it a little and I'll just enjoy it too. So all about divine timing.
There you go.
Yes.
You need it. You'll get it when you need it.
We'll talk more. We'll talk more tomorrow.
Yes. All right. Bye, love. Bye.
I love you. Thank you.
Athena. Good to see you again.
Wonderful to see you, love. Bye.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Isn't she great? I mean,
I love her.
I absolutely adore her. But now that is all in our heads and everything, and we have some more energy being filtered through the show.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have the seer stone, we have our feathers, we have you, we have Mama's Reiki energy, we have me just yapping away. So you know, you go right ahead and start this meditation because I want Mama to be better.
Okay.
I want to be better too.
This is going to be, we're going to go get the purest, most jujued up energy. And it's going to just, well, you'll see. We'll after it's over, I want to hear what your experience is and what you see. I will tell you like what I'm seeing because I'm often shown things but I'll be describing it. Now, everyone else, just pick something that you would like to see transformed in your life, that your mind is labeling as less than ideal. So it could be anything, just something that's mildly perturbing to something that's really big for you. Okay. So we're going to go and we're going to come into the present moment. And then we're going to use the light of our consciousness. We're going to surrender to source. So it's going to be with us and it's going to look at it. We're going to use that full light to look at whatever it is that we're wanting to transmute or transform. And then we'll all describe what we had at the end, what our sensation was, our feeling, our experience. So this is an experience, a direct experience of using this energy to help transmute something in your life. Okay. So we're going to take 3 slow breaths. We're going to close our eyes. If you're sitting in a chair, uncross your legs and your hands. If you're laying on the bed, that is fine. And as we breathe, we're just going to follow it as either a roller coaster. So we're going to go breathe in and go up the roller coaster with our eyes closed, an imaginary roller coaster. And then breathe out and go down the roller coaster. Breathe in and go up. And breathe out. Now breathe in. And breathe out. Now keep breathing, obviously, with your eyes closed. And just follow my voice. So now you're in the present moment. This is where we commune, we greet source energy. Feel it, see it. It floods in. Once you greet it, it floods in and fills your whole energy field with light, loving, generous, warm light. Now I call this making the connection. And once you see it, and it sees you, you see you're actually the same, one in the same being. Now, with this light and being in the present moment, look at whatever it is that you love to transform. So we want to look at it. We want to turn and face it. And with this love, this light, this power, firmly plant your feet in the direction looking at this thing you want to change. If you can give it a shape, a color, a texture, and a place maybe that you sense it in your energy field. And look at it. Welcome it. Accept it's there. And now thank it. Whatever it's teaching you, whatever it's bringing to you, stay with it. Now, if it had a shape and a texture, you might notice that there's sparkling light in it now. Stay with it. Keep your attention on it. Stay with it. Bring this light, this love, this awareness and acceptance to it, and welcome it again with this light. So with Mama D, I see that like I can't get the sensation anymore of what I was seeing. So you might see it also with what you were looking at. Now, whatever you were looking at has actually turned to sparkling light and dissipated or disappeared. It's just melted right in front of you. So once again, thank it. Thank Source for this power that you are, for bringing this light and this transformation to you. And now you can bring yourself back into wherever you're seated. Maybe wiggle your toes and your fingers. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. Hi.
How you feel, Mama?
I can breathe.
So when I was looking at you in particular, I could feel like a heaviness, like a cloud almost, like through here, kind of a dense grayish-ness. And when I was looking at it, I could start to see like sparkling stuff happen. And so I kept there looking at it with you. And that's why I directly asked you, you know, what are you seeing, sensing? And then I could see it like just dissipate.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're 100% better, but I know that, you know, maybe
I'm not, like I said, not 100%, but I can breathe. But what really gets me is that you said you saw gray, and you said give it a color or a shape or a texture, and I could see gray. And then when it came to changing it, it changed with sparkly blue. Like you know, the night sky with the sparkles, with that type of blue. And then it just sort of weaved together, and it's like, oh, okay. And then you're telling me you saw the gray and the sparkles, so it's like, yeah, okay. I'm like, okay.
I wonder if you're anyone else. Like Gina, what was your experience? Did you have anything that you?
Well, I was asking about my lungs and belly area because that's what my issues are right now. And what was weird was there was a being. It was like a being, a grayish, like a being, you know, and it was in front of me when you were saying, look at it, you know. That's what I was looking at, was this kind of like just a shape with no face, no nothing, you know, no hands or anything. It was like little nubbies. Like, it was weird. It was just a being. And then it just kind of faded. It didn't sparkle. It just kind of faded. You know, I think I might have had more interaction had I had more time.
Yeah. So I know I try to do things kind of like on a let's get things done.
It gives me that.
Maybe one day we'll all get together and do a real deep one here.
I know. What is this? Now, see, it's like, okay, you know what was going on here.
Okay, Sharon says, I saw a lady walking in the fog with a lantern towards me, and it was me.
Oh, that's cool.
It's nice.
That's cool. Huh. Yeah, that is I love doing stuff like that. It just gets you, it just centers you, you know. Like I feel more relaxed and more comfortable right now.
I had this one patient, she was really having a hard time with the Parkland shooting, and she sat in my chair one day, and for her orthodontic appointment. And she's like, oh my God, I'm having a terrible day. I'm having a really bad day. I mean, this is how they're all going, right? All of these kids that have gone through it. She said, I'm thinking about Coach Feist and how he put his body in front of everybody, and he took all these bullets and he saved all these people. And I'm just really thinking how he was my friend and blah, 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 blah. I'm really, really having a bad day. So I just got her in the chair and we breathed. And hers, I could see it in her, and we gave it a shape. I had her describe what it was. I mean, for hers, I did take more time because, she was having a severe anxiety attack. And so but it only took like 3 minutes. So, but I could see exactly what she was feeling and sensing. And we used the light of consciousness to actually make it dissipate. And when she got up out of my chair, she was completely different. She was no longer having a panic attack. So this one works. This technique works great for, if you're going to find a shape and, label it and you feel it like a sensation in your body. Sometimes you can feel it, like, that there's a sensation somewhere in your body, like it's a heaviness in your heart or, and if you look at it and you give it a shape and you stay with it. But here's the real lesson I want to tell you. It's what we try to do is we try to push it down and run away from it and ignore it. And, if I told you probably 80% of the people in Parkland moved away. Why? Because they just want to get away from it. They're not dealing with it. They're moving away. Right. So we try to run away from it and not face it. And it's facing it with the full light of source consciousness that you open it up and realize what's the gift there. There's a gift in everything. Every single thing happens, including getting COVID or a cold. It's for a reason, but what, right? Yeah. So it's a gift that when we open it, wow, it just transmutes it. But you have to have developed yourself and taken responsibility to a certain degree to be able to do this. And when you have trust in the divine, that's foundational. And I did Reiki without having that divine trust. I mean, how many times do you hear people say, well, I don't even know if I trust there is a divine being. And I say to myself, holy smokes, they don't even have that foundation. They have, this needs to be taught as a foundation.
Yep. Because it comes from somewhere, and and it's for us. It's for us. We should know about it. It is us, so that's what connects us all.
And the thing is, this is what the shows that we do is for those people. Because I have friends who are like, you're what? You're a Reiki master? What the heck? And I said, you know what? You do not have to believe, but have the ability to be open to the possibility. If you're open to the possibilities, you'll understand, maybe not exactly what I'm explaining or I'm doing, but you will understand what is meant for you to understand. And I was like, okay. And I had a friend who came back to me kind of like, because I sent them Reiki and I said, look, all you got to do, I'm just open to the possibilities, have a bottle of water beside your bed. And that's all I'm asking you to do. I said, and then you message me tomorrow. And it was like, it was for them, it was a 360. It wasn't that big of a deal, but for them, there was like, what do you mean you're going to do what to me? You're going to say, and it's just being open to the possibilities of everything that's going on around us.
Well, how were they even open to doing Reiki with you in the first place? They must be open enough to try it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because they know me, they trust me, Mama D, Darlene. And they were like, who the heck is Mama D? And I explained how, when I first chose this path to be open to it, to everybody else, I didn't want, my mother was still alive at that time and my brother and my work job. I didn't want people to know about it until I was sure of myself. So I wasn't going to use my name. So my husband in his family, his mother, his grandmother, they were all Mama and either like Francis, Mama Gina, but so I just chose Mama D. It just sort of fit perfectly. And they were like, so they knew me, they trusted me because I never steer people wrong. I'm like, generally, I'm like telling you the truth, not always whether you like it or not, but I'll tell you what you need to know. Not always what you want to know, but what you need to know. And that came before my stepping out of my behind the curtains of the Wizard of Oz and showing people that I do card readings or interpretations the way I explain it, and the healing and whatever. So they knew that I was like, I wasn't going to hand them a line of goods and expect something from it. So like for me, when I do Reiki healing and distance, I don't charge people. It's something that I do because I feel I need to. When I was attuned for the first time, my Reiki master, he didn't charge me for it. For level 1, level 2, he didn't charge me for it. Because he went into a meditation after he met me. He went into a meditation and he was told something. And then he came back to me and said, okay, this is the deal. I'm going to attune you level 1, level 2, no charge. The only thing you have to do is promise that you will give back. And I was like, I do that already. It's kind of like, who Darlene is.
Yep.
And he said, no, I know. He says, but you have to promise that you will give back. And I said, okay, I promise. So that was him giving to me, and I promised to give. Hey, Deb.
Yeah,
and I promised to give back.
Reiki to her for her knee.
That's beautiful. Don't you love that?
I do. Like I said, for him, he heard something in a meditation that sort of still. I have issues understanding. I mean, I understand it. I get he said he was told in a meditation that I was. Oh my God, I can't even remember the words now. Basically, a divine being who lost their way and forgot who I was. So I have to start all over again. I was like, okay, but when he says I'll make you a deal, and I was like, the Darlene in me, I was like, I'm not sure about these deals sort of thing. I was kind of like not sure of it because I'd heard of Reiki and I've heard of healing, and because with Facebook and the internet, I learned a lot of new things. So, but when he kind of said that I will, attune you, but I was like, okay, I'm waiting for the, the shoe to drop, and there was no shoe. It was just, you have to give back. And I was like, okay. And it sits with me. It's comfortable with me. It's like when I get messages, I'll get a shiver on this side of my body. As at one point you were talking and you were saying something about the divine coming. There was something you were getting, and then all of a sudden I got this shiver, and I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, she is. Okay, not a problem. It's like, for me, that's what it is. So when somebody asks me a question, I'm honest about it. So when they were willing to say, and they said, okay, I'll be open to it. I said, all you gotta do is just say, I'm open to whatever Darlene's sending me. Have that bottle of water, good night, and you're done. And in the morning, if you have anything to tell me, then tell me. If you have nothing to tell me, just say, I have nothing to tell you. I didn't get anything. I got 2 pages. I was like, it was kind of like, I was so overjoyed that I was able to help somebody. That was the rush for me, that I helped somebody.
I love this. I love what you're saying right now. It feels so warm, like a warm blanket.
Yeah,
what you're
exactly.
saying.
Exactly. And it's like, and that's the thing for people, is they don't, like somebody once said, well, what if I get attuned to Reiki and I don't like it and I want to be unattuned? Never in my life heard of one person who wants to be unattuned. You can sort of stop doing it. But it's almost like, it's like, you see those things on Facebook and on YouTube and TikTok where the guy holds up a sign and says, if you're having a rough time, free hugs or take a flower. Do you know how many times people go up to them and just say thank you? And that's all they need. That's what I do. That's just how I am. You come into the business where I worked, you came in, and trust me, without a word of lie, everybody would leave with a smile, because I would figure out a way to make smile. If it meant picking on your husband, then I was good at that one, But you never left without feeling uplifted some way. So Reiki to me just elevated me. It's something that I build upon. It's the healing that we build upon, whether it's Reiki, whether it's crystals, whatever healing modality. A simple hug. Stand on the corner of somewhere with a sign that says, if you are having a bad day, I'm giving away free hugs. 9 out of 10 people will stop and take that hug because we need it. So that's just what it is, an energetic hug.
Oh, let's look what someone wrote in the chat. Oh.
She's threatening to come down and going over to Gina's house and come down and see me.
Yeah, she's gonna come.
Wait till winter's over, please. I need to put that. That's a hard one.
We're gonna knock on your door.
Like I said, wait till after winter's over. No more snow. No more cold. It won't be as warm as it is in the States, but
No. I just want to know what this being was. I'm just like, because my questions and stuff that I was asking is like, why do I have to have this? Why do I have to have this lung issue going on? Because I got COVID, I got COPD and emphysema. I'm getting COVID.
Oh, can we talk a little bit about this? I just want to talk. I went to a Joe Dispenza retreat, right? And I was so excited because one, he has a walking meditation. So that's exactly what I do, embodiment every day. And then I get up and I walk as if God's looking through my eyes, speaking through my mouth, thinking my thoughts and using my vehicle. So my vehicle's merely surrendered to do what it wants me to do for the betterment of humanity and our evolution. So I go to this retreat and I'm so excited, right? Because he has this walking retreat, but he also has this healing the world meditation. And I don't know where it's going to be in the whole thing. Okay, day 5, I start feeling sick, but I hear people coughing and sneezing the whole time. There's 1,800 of us in Orlando.
Wow.
And sneezing and coughing through the whole thing, through the whole meditation. And he has us meditating for 6 hours a day. So I'm like, dang. And, the more it goes on, so it started on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, I'm sleeping and I'm like, I don't feel so good. I'm like, it's just my imagination. And, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to power through it. So I got up and I did 2 more meditations. I did a walking meditation. Then he had one in the amphitheater. And then I'm like, no, and I'm really sick. I feel like I have a fever. So what do? I use trust. Like, I don't know why, but I'm supposed to leave here now. I don't know why. Do you know that the 4 people I got contact names and contacts up, every one of us got COVID, every single one of us. Wow. So I know it was like spreading throughout the whole thing, but I'm like, I came home, I was sick. I was 103 fever, 103-degree fever. And anyway.
First time I was praying for death. I really was.
Oh my God. When did you get it early on of COVID?
Yeah. What happened was my boyfriend got it the week before, right? Well,
did you get it in 2020?
When was it? 2020.
I think it was.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But it's like, what? Yeah, I could tell actually by looking at my date on my shot, because that's when I got it. But he had gotten it. We had both made our appointments to get our shots. He was on like a Friday and I was on a Tuesday, but he wasn't feeling well because, oh, don't worry about it. It's just a cold. He got his shot and then he wasn't feeling good over the weekend, thinking it was just now because of the shot. And I had my schedule on Tuesday and I went and got my shot. Right before I went to get the shot, I started feeling a little blah. But so obviously I'd had it. And I got the shot.
Oh my goodness.
It pummeled me. It pummeled me so bad. I have never been so sick. Never, ever. And I really seriously was. I was panting. I was just in insane fever. I couldn't breathe. It was just, and then I got COPD and emphysema from it. Like I had occasionally, I'd have to use an inhaler, every once in a while. Apparently this was in my system. My doctor said this would not have come out in you until 80s, 90s. Had it not been for COVID, So, I seriously was praying for death. I really was. I was like, this is just the worst.
So when you were just doing that little meditation and you saw Could you look at it and welcome it? Or I'm just curious to how you were interacting with that gray blob.
I have that distance thing.
Yeah.
That my face thing, so I'm just like, well, what is this? Who are you? Are you going to do something about this? Are you here to take this away from me? Are you here to tell me about it? Or what, like what is it with you, and it was getting closer and closer and closer. And yet I'm just kind of like,
because I was saying welcome in it. And now here's the thing. This is so important, because I was listening to your show, and I don't know how you're going to take this, but before I heard this technique, I felt the way I think you did. But then after it, I had to sit with it for a while to change the way I thought of things. Have you always heard of putting like a protection light around you and asking your angels to come and protect you?
Yep.
So, my teacher, Jetta, was like,
twice a day.
Well, so listen to how she responds to it and see how it lands for you, and tell me, let's have this open exchange, because I think it's really could go somewhere. Okay, so she was asked the same thing. She was asked that a lot, like, how do we know we're not opening ourselves up to non-benevolent beings?
Right.
And she said, whenever you come at it with that attitude, you come at it you're coming from fear, however subtle. Whenever you put a protection around you, you're coming at it as though you have to protect, and you're other than that. There is one energy, and it's loving kindness, benevolence. So there is just one energy. And when you trust it 100% with all you don't even need to put anything around you to protect it, because you're trusting that one energy. And then whatever our mind makes of elementals or, whatever it is, they're not even an entity.
Not a factor anymore.
So
That's the point that I need to get to. That's it. That is totally it. Because when I got into the paranormal, and I was taught by a very good person, and it was appropriate at the time, this was, because, we all grow and change and develop, and we develop into other things, and our faith and our trust goes into other things and morphs, right? But at the beginning, because I was humbled by a spirit, you know what I mean? So once that happens, you protect yourself, So because I was putting myself in those situations, going into haunted locations, taking people into haunted locations. I can't protect them if I can't protect me. Mm-hmm. So I learned how to ground, shield, and protect ultimately. And because I'm empathic too, because then I don't take in all the emotions of said spirits, because, oh my God, I'll be crying, I'll be laughing, I'll be angry. You know what I mean? I'll take all those things in. So I, again, have to block that out too. So,
but if you knew you were your full power, the full power of God, all in you, and you went into that situation, would you have to protect yourself?
No. Just a thought. I mean, I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, that's a thought.
So you're doing the same thing though that I'm doing in a different way, right? Because I get up in the morning. I ground the shield, protect myself. At night, I ground, shield, protect myself. I kind of like a Reiki scraping, right? You scrape the sludge of the day, anything that got on you off, and then you're bringing in, again, fresh, clean light so that you can sleep without any issues. Because a lot of spirits want to come and talk to you at night because they can. When you're sleeping, right before you're sleeping, it's like they want to yap, and it's like, no, I want to sleep. So get out. I will talk to you when I'm good and ready. So, but you are when you said you get up in the morning and you're filling yourself up with this, divine trust and this light and this everything, and it's like the same thing. However, I am making the bubble and you are just poof.
immersion into it.
Yeah, you're like part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still staying in my little bubble.
Yeah, but the thing is, Gina, what I see, what we see in you, you don't see in yourself. You put yourself into this bubble as protection, but nothing's going to mess with you because you are light. You are, like I always say, I'm building a castle off of your customers. That castle is nothing but crystals because it's all like, even though you cost like a sailor and a stormtrooper and a truck driver and all those other things, that you always say, that it's light. And you have to trust, for me, you have to trust in yourself. I have a really good friend who's a paranormal investigator, and everybody else who goes in, like you, they do the whole protection thing and whatever. And he's like, I don't need it. I told him, you don't need it because you are protected. He works with the Fae and the wee folk. So they are his protection. He doesn't need to say anything like, and he goes in there and he says silly things like, go ahead, you want to use me, use me. And it's like, I'd be like, oh my God, I know his wife's having a coronary. But it's because nothing negative will happen to him to the effect that it will be long lasting. He did something one time and it just sort of like, he doesn't remember it. We went to save the video and the video disappeared. And I saw him, and that the man on screen was not the man. No, but once it was over. He was back to being, it was a learning experience, but there was nothing. You had that experience where you had that negative. That's why you make sure that
Right.
But you're
Right.
now.
Other people are in my care. So seriously, I need to make sure that
For me,
can't happen to me. Nothing can happen to them.
But if you do a prayer, if you do like trust and intention, like Mary Jane says, you're trusting that your source will protect you from everything that's necessary. The moment that you start thinking the what ifs, that's when the what ifs will get in.
Yeah. Well, I want to just expand it out and protect like everybody that's around me too,
Mm-hmm.
So, especially when I'm taking them to a haunted location.
Yeah, I'm going to be at that haunted location with you, and I'll be the one screaming and running.
I do trust my intentions. And mix in a little confidence.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. I mean, I know I am very good at what I do. I'm very good at keeping the people in there, keeping them safe, communicating with the spirits because I respect them. They want to talk to me. We have our conversations. We find out what they need, what the people need, what they need, whatever. And it all works fine. And then they stay there and we go our way and we live our lives with no harm and no attachments, because I've seen it. I've seen the attachments on people. I've seen the cord cuttings that we've had to do to get these things off of people. So these things do happen,
Yeah.
So, I mean, because this is like the next step. This is that process going all the way,
Yeah.
but not everybody's even at the level that I was when I first even got into the paranormals for that singular protection. Because again, there is no good without the evil, right? And then there is those negative type things too that will pretend that they're the good things to come in to try to corrupt said good soul, and so you really have to be, a little cautious,
There will come a day that you won't need to do that because it'll be
to get to this point, this you really are in it. You are in it for the long haul. You're in it, and you should have a teacher. You should have a mentor. You should have someone that you can bounce off of, talk to, that knows what happens. Dr. Nancy. Right, in her program, but we can get 50% off of right now. Okay, that she's offering just by because
that's an amazing gift.
Yeah,
that's what I love about our guests. They give amazing gifts to our listeners. And this is like
just for your listeners. So I'm
no, 10 days. You have 10 days to get this. Okay. So that's
till the 18th. So get on it or.
Yep, trustthedivine.com/master-class. And then you use this code. The discount code is TRUST50 to get 50% off. All right. So you can go get the book to divinetrustbook.com and the website, trustthedivine.com. And I'm telling you, I already feel differently, like things have been pushing me, she's been pushing me, things have been pushing me for that next step, and
Yeah, but the thing is, you can push somebody so much, and if they're not ready for it, they won't be able to do it.
Yeah, but it's always something that's right in your face that you don't see until someone just did that one little thing, like, well, let me ask you this. I watched your show. You protect yourself. And where was this thing? Did it come into me? No, it was out here. Why? Because I do that. Right?
Yeah.
But it's like, duh. Did I think to even drop that down?
But you were facing it, right? You turned and you faced it. Did you plant your feet firmly in the ground in love and light and look at it?
I did. But it was like faceless. It was just like an alien shape, right? It was just a shape. No hand. It was no hands. It was just like little nubs just standing there. This little shape. I didn't see from like the waist down. Actually, because I wonder, because I'm like asking about my lungs and my belly.
And I did say that it would kind of dissolve. So for you, it kind of like just slowly kind of dissipated, right?
Yeah.
So still the same essence, the same result. It dissipated.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I feel the stuff in my chest now, though. Like see, when my voice went crackly, right after that.
And as tonight, before maybe as you go to bed, just look at it. Just look at it.
Yeah.
And face it with light and love and see what happens. And here's the other thing, don't move away. Don't stop until you feel it start to dissolve.
Okay.
And it only takes like a minute or two and you'll start to see it, but stay with it. Because things that our mind is labeling as bad, man, you just stay with it with this full light of your consciousness. It just dissolves it. And anything that's beautiful, it grows it. And anything that's not beautiful, it dissolves it. So it's a beautiful one size fits all.
I like that one.
Yeah, I was going to say it's for everybody. Totally for everybody. How we do? We are.
Yeah, we're over time.
I don't know if you have anything that you need to be doing, but all right. So we kind of covered every single thing here. And
I have a feeling this is not going to be the last time you're on our show.
Fun. Like that 2 hours went by so fast,
doesn't it? It's insane. It's insane. We could go another hour so easy because now I just opened a whole nother door.
Yes.
So that means, therefore, you are in my life because I'm going to be like, hey, Nancy.
So now you're going to start looking at it. Well, wait a second. She said I don't have to protect myself. What does that mean? How do I just have to trust? I just have to trust. And then, it's so subtle when you come at life from fear, like I have to protect myself from the spirits. So I have to put this circle around me versus I'm immersed in this light and love. And there's only one energy. Whatever we make it of the elementals, it's a mind-made anything construct anyway. So when we stay fully present in that moment of that light, in the consciousness merged with source, you are just all powerful. There's nowhere to go, but there's nowhere to go up because you are everything. Yeah. But anyways, here we're getting someone. I'm struggling walking, but I found my walking in the fog with the lantern light. So I'll be walking okay again.
Yeah, she's got issues. She's got back issues. She had a they had put a device in her back with all these wires and everything, and they became unhooked and it wasn't working properly. And then they took it out, and then they were doing all this experimental stuff as to what's going on, and then they couldn't find anything. They're not giving her definitive answers. She's
Sharon, Sharon, you're carrying the light. You are the light. Do you see that? You're carrying the light. You're in the fog, but you are carrying the light. So I like just what you wrote there says everything. So you are carrying the light. Just focus on the light. Focus more on the light and make it grow and make it, put your attention on the light.
I love this show. I really do. I really do.
But the fact that you guys have interaction is fantastic. I love that.
Yeah. And we'll get more later too, when people, because sometimes there's another show on tonight that has some paranormal people on it that I know. And I know a lot of people are over there watching that because John Zappas is on it, so I know that they're over there watching that, but they'll watch this later. And then they'll have more comments and things that will come up after, either on Facebook or on YouTube when they watch later. And we do upload our audio. Our audio goes out to God knows where. But so it goes on. It's an ongoing thing. But I want to have you back someday. I'm gonna do more of this work.
I have to go.
I can give you the master class. I'll give it to you for free if you want to try it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll because I have your email, I'll send it to you. Okay. All right. And then it would be really fun though if I got to hear from you. It's gonna be great. I'll give it to you, I'll send it to you right when we get off. Okay. And then once you go through it, get back with me because I want to have more feedback. And it just takes like maybe 2.5 hours. But you have to sit with it because this is knowledge, just like you heard about the trusting instead of protecting the trust. Right. You have to sit with it and it's got to percolate a little bit. And then if you can ask me questions, you'll get that much further.
Yes, because I'm that person. I what is this? What is happening? I saw this. I felt that. What does this mean? That's what I do. But that's great. All right, you guys, we have to stay with us for a minute, okay?
Okay.
Guys, we will see you all next week, and we're going to be talking with Eliana Giad, Emerging Triumphant. It's healing sounds, voice and sound and healing, and I haven't read it yet, so I don't really know yet. But that's what it'll be all about. And
healing.
But check out Nancy. Go through all those.
Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge, sharing everything with with Gina and I, but with the people in the chat and the people who are going to be listening to this again.
Oh, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much. And I want to thank all your listeners and thanks for sharing your comments. That's been so much fun too. Love it.
Yeah, I love our people. There's 3 more that came on. Good show. Thank you. Have a great night, my friends. Oh, love you guys.
But this is in Australia, so he's down under. So enjoy your day, my friend.
I love you guys. All right, so we will see you next Thursday. And buona notte, everybody.
Y'all be good.
Be the light.
Bye.
Thank you again for joining us for another episode in the Fox Den. We're here every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you a variety of guests, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and our Anchor venues. We would love it if you would go to our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, and please subscribe, share, and definitely hit the notification button to never miss a show. We'll see you all next week, and subscribers, watch for our pop-up shows as well.